It's Sunday, it's 9 o'clock, and it's part 2 of the CMO 102 SL Double Weekender. Gives me great pleasure to welcome Mr. Yorkshire 2013, Ste Wright, to the stream. Ste, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, mate. I'm very good, thanks. Well, apart from how season's going so far, but how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. And I understand you've had some technical difficulties today with a bit of a power cut that jeopardised your first appearance of the season on comms at the last minute.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'd been able to join in. But yeah, I mean, it nearly jeopardised. My lad, he's got an operation tomorrow. His mum were going to come pick him up and kick him off, and yeah. So, but luckily, power's back, all good.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the lads in the chat will wish you and the boy all the best for the trip down to Liverpool, mate, and for the operation. Couple of little quick shout outs. We've got Ryan, Mr. Spanner in the chat, Savage. Yeah, I've just read your message about an updated Asta logo, which is absolutely fine, and we also need Fulchester Phoenix's new logo on there as well. Good evening, Pessimistic Tato, although we probably can't blame him for that at the minute. Bibbins is in the chat. And Greavesy's in the chat, the resurgent Greavesy, and Edwards is in the chat as well. So good evening, lads, and let's crack on. Really enjoyed last night's show. Thanks to Martin for his co-comms. Steve, we'll get on to Rose when it comes to your game, but just generally, any kind of immediate thoughts about how the season's going? Game week 6 now.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at where things are. I mean, obviously Ryan, he's done masses with that turnaround for them Fulchester players. I mean, when Swan's stats were out over there, we showed that that stat of teams that were percentage of getting in the playoffs after last season. I think Fulchester didn't have a point after 4 games last year, and for Macca to be on cusp of just missing out, but the he's done, he's just shown to be massively strong coming straight back in, and obviously the team in itself is probably not a lot of teams, not a lot of players that he likes, but yeah, I mean, massive for your boys, Dimble doing Dimble. It's just getting tighter and tighter, and it'll be another interesting night where I wouldn't be surprised if another 2 or 3 games time you could really start seeing a divide already.
Yeah, I think so. It does feel as though there's some teams, certainly towards the top end of the table, that are really building some momentum. Burn, Casuals, and Fulchester have definitely been the pick of the bunch. I don't think anybody's got any complaints about that. And if Cosmos can kind of beat Dragons tonight, I think that would really put them right amongst the mix of the teams that have started off probably better than the managers were expecting, to be honest. Anything standing out for you tonight in terms of fixtures? Any games in there that you think are going to be decent?
I mean, I guess against Fulchester with Rocks at the wheel is really intriguing, whether it be in or not. After his result last night, Greavesy against Ian is going to be a really interesting one. But I think the podcast derby as well. You know, I'm really happy for Rob. He's had a great start to the season, and that could throw anything and everything it can as well.
Absolutely. And without further ado, we're going to crack on. We have a few kind of niggles amongst the community. We've got Swan, whose boy's still recovering, and Dan, who isn't great, and Greavesy, who isn't in the best of nick tonight either. So we're going to try and get those early games out of the way as quickly as we possibly can, so the boys can rest up. Bostock Stanley were on an incredible run, really taking a lot of us by surprise until Celtics beat them 3-1 yesterday evening. They are one of the sides, mentioned it in one of the wipes, that does seem to be a kind of spate of injuries passing out across the league, and Stanley are on the receiving end of that. What do you think of this Stanley side, Steve? Gerard comes back in for Mild, which looks to be a poor move given the result last night. Any thoughts on this Swan team?
I mean, obviously the main thing is the Maldini and the CDM in it that you look at. Obviously when he posted it and watching last night, I mean, Dyer obviously is going to be a massive loss for him. And I think with greatest respect to Scott, because he was sort of on the cusp of whether he were going to stay or not, and he wanted to try and get a few players in. I think he did a few deals that were, he didn't necessarily weaken the side, but just he was trying to bring some players in. But Swan's working with what he's done, and yeah, I think apart from Maldini and CDM, it's still be a very, very strong side.
Yeah, and I can almost kind of hear probably Rocks in the background going, Maldini's positioning and he's tackling, and he'll probably do a job in there. So that'll be interesting to kind of see that. Jens, I've done a little bit of an order, mate. So I think I've got you up third at the minute after Celtics and Burn after this. Gazelles were a little bit unlucky last night, Steve. I think Dimble himself said it was one of those where he was happy to kind of take it and run. Shivu missed the pen. I messaged Dan before because I immediately panicked and thought it was my mistake, but Mendy had as his first choice of penalty taker, and Nicky Frank was his second, and neither was on the pitch, so the game defaulted to this kind of third position, which it usually kind of likes to, and that's why he missed. Any thoughts on this Gazelles side? They obviously surprised us last season. Is it a better side, a worse side than last year for you, Steve?
Yeah, I don't think it's certainly a worse side at all. I think these I think obviously, as you were alluding to with Martin last night, Pizarro were in essence, whether they come at me or not, he did really well. 14 goals. If anybody gets 14 goals out of a striker in this league, you're going to be really happy with it. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the penalty takers, I'm of an ilk of let it roll with it. I only selected Pizarro for this season for me because if you bring a striker in, you want them to do well, you want them to be among top goal scorers. So, but apart from that, I'm all for letting game decide. If he won Pizarro for me, Zanoni would be taking my penalties if he plays. So, because there's certain players that do.
Yeah, absolutely. We are about to kick off. Steve, any prediction from you, mate?
2-1 Swanley.
2-1 Swanley. Let's see some predictions in the chat. Yep, as with the early yellow card, Maldini looks to be involved in that DM possession. Rui Costa draws another save from Con. Definitely two he's done early. Gazelles hit the woodwork. Andy Biagio there with a booking. Superb stave now at the other side. Maldini and Con again. Very, very busy, the Stanley keeper early doors with a lot of red and white coming in as the half comes to an end. Hussein is shoved, and that's a free kick to Gazelles with Costa firing it in. Dida sends it up, and another booking. We must have had about 4 or 5 bookings in this first half, and there's another one in there as well. And there is Willie Baumer, who I think has scored directly from a free kick. It is indeed just before half time. I think he is fairly high for set pieces. I'll not click on him just in case anybody is anybody's particular about that. Thoughts on that first half, Steve?
Yeah, it's just really solid. What you'd probably expect from Bostock being at home. I mean, I know Guerrero did the same thing. It's not something you see too much in goals from direct free kicks.
We've seen a few. The last few streams, we've seen a few. I think there was definitely one last night. Ronaldinho scored one, I think, last week when Ryan was on, and then another one tonight. It seems to be happening a little bit more often.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is for me, I see that after the David Collins lottery, he's got a starting berth, so I don't know what's going on there.
It's a rollover. It's Collins and Jacks next. I think that's why he's in there. Anything kind of standing out for you there? I noticed that Gerard for Stanley certainly kind of didn't have much of the ball with that forward, or it's maybe something that Swan will look to remove to kind of help him swamp those three of Gazelles across the middle. There's the stats for Gazelles. Any thoughts on that? Both managers going as is.
I mean, Jorovic is having a superb first half. I'm surprised that's not up at a 9. Vinoli, it looks like a really good signing for Dan from outside league as well. Posting some really solid numbers. And I mean, you look at Seedorf. Martin, we were talking about Seedorf last night. His assists were great for Gazelles last time out, but he's one of them. He can have a load of 6s, and he'll put a 9, put a 10 in, and do the same way.
Yeah, and we get to 60 just as Stanley concedes a corner. Looked to be a little bit more Gazelles in that second half, although not much happened. Yellow cards starting to stack up for the Gazelles as well. They've definitely had their disciplinary problems so far this season. Be interested to see what Dan does about that, with last night being the first game in 3 where they didn't have a red card. Swan is straight in with bringing Jacks in for Collins. So what we'll do is we'll give Dan a chance just to think.
You think he's gone as is, mate?
He's gone as is.
No, I am. Not 60.
No, that was half time, I think. And then Dan is going Rui Costa for Rivaldo and long arrows on. Is that the wing backs? Is that he wants them on?
Yeah,
long arrows on the wing backs.
Rivaldo.
Dan, can you just
good numbers from there last year?
Dan, can you just confirm if that's long enough, or if you want them all the way to the front 3 kind of area? If you just let us know before I hit continue, mate. Big game this for Gazelles. You know, if they don't pick up points here tonight, they're kind of cut adrift a little bit in that bottom cluster. Pulls the likes of Bostock Swanley away from them just a little bit more. Yeah, I'm taking that as that he's fine with that. Brilliant. Thank you, Dan. And let's crack on. Oh, and there is Rivaldo, almost Nostradamus-esque from Ste Wright, who predicts that Rivaldo's got good numbers last season and was going to repeat it. We will, I think, once it gets to about 85, so we don't kill the boys too much. That's a penalty. And Mendieta turns it around for Gazelles. That has to be the winning goal, says the comms. And where has this come from Gazelles? They've kind of turned up for the last half an hour of the game, and that is the full-time whistle. I didn't even get a chance to click that slowing down of comms. And much like the kind of thing that we say in all the league, Gazelles were on the back end of a robbery last night. I don't think this is a robbery, but certainly they only turned up for half an hour. Steve, any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, Bostock have done a lot of things really good there, haven't they? Obviously, they won a lot more at tackles, but you know they have got. The thing is with the Gazelle side is they've got game-breaking players when they turn up. This is what I was saying about Seedorf. You've got a lot of people that have got to have 6, but when they turn it on, they can turn games around and get them 3 points.
Yeah, Ryan saying it in the chat there. That is a mega sub. It's almost as good as Jens's last night. Maybe even better, you would argue. Almost as good as the Vikings comeback from 2 down. That is a massive win for Gazelles. That absolutely pulls them right up the table and stops them from being kind of caught in that middle pack, and also pulls Bostock Stanley just closer to them. Anything that stands out for you for Swan's side there? Anything you'd be looking at?
I mean, like I say, out of league signing. Look at Jorovic. He's not moved up from an 8, but his numbers there are absolutely massive. Boomer dropping down. He's not somebody I'm overly enamoured with, in fairness, on the game personally. But Maldini, he's won 3 of his 4 tackles in CDM, an experiment that might not be. I think he's done better there than when he played UK though for Ladysford. So that's an improvement.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think it's one of them where there's probably a solid enough base to go for it again if the kind of crisis gets worse. So I'm just having a little look at the running order, and we're off to the resurgent Peter Greaves's Tortuga Celtics, who stick with their narrow formation and make a slight change in the fact that he's still not 100% happy with his striking options. Trezeguet comes out entirely for Kovacevic, and the main man Del Piero still retains the captain's armband, and he's surely integral to everything the Celtics do this season. Steve?
Yeah, David's with that arrow out, playing that. It's probably not like I think I was saying before we went live. Tomasi played that for me on the left-hand side sometimes when I did all right for a little spell. But you can't knock his change of tactic. He's got players that can. If they turn it on, they can turn it on. But again, Del Piero's he's one of them. I had him for a short spell. He did great for Dimble. He did great for Ian, which way I went to Dimble, then came to me. I think he's warranted. He's up there with one of the better AMCs on the game, but it's getting it right in this league, which is hard to do.
Absolutely. And we go over to Northern Burn, who Edwards is the king of the as is, and he actually went entirely as is before ball was kicked. And this was exactly the team that turned up and probably were lucky to get the 3 points last night. Anything you want to kind of say about this Burn side, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the first half last night, we were, although it showed, I thought we had more attacks last night. They were just dominant that first half, and we had a good second half where we got to go back. But I mean, look at that. I mean, you got George Atos, favourite of Ian's, can't get a game because Bobby Carlos is doing so well. Petkovic, again, is one that, you know, I brought him in from Hulls in an auction before, but he's winning 2 so far, and
looks very good, by the way. This it looks good. I think
always looks really good, but it's never really transpired into being really, really good. But yeah, wait, they're a champion team, aren't they? So
Rob Sloth, Tato's in there calling Burn his side after last night, and Rob Sloth says Tato desperate for some glory. He's all over Edwards like a tramp on chips. Jens asking you, Jens baiting you to say who won the match last night. Say it.
Northern Burn did.
Northern Burn did. Good lad. Any predictions for this one, Steve, as we hit kick-off and Burn come forward really early on?
One apiece.
A lot of Burn in possession and also in the text. But actually, it looked as though they did have to hold back a little bit of pressure. We've only had 16 minutes there, but there's been a hell of a lot happen. Hoop you with the booking. So Elias lobbing forward. David's now, he's the player that Celtics will want to see amongst it. And there is Sigalko scoring again this season. I dare to think how many he's on already. Half an hour gone. Northern Burn 1, Celtics 0. Celtics need a bit of the ball. There's been a lot of orange text over the last half an hour. Fast approaching half time. Celtics trying to get forward, but maybe just don't have enough to get past that middle block 3 of Northern Burn. We get half time. It's 1-0. It's a very, very tight game. But the text kind of suggested it was all Burn, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't look like there were only one attempt on target, really, from both sides. I mean, Montero's had a decent half there, as obviously Alias, which is as standard. But yeah, it's. I
mean, Chiotis has had 2 touches of the ball. You know, if that doesn't say how little he's had to do, then I don't know what does. The fact that Jeremy's has had 9 touches, 9 passes attempted when he's kind of the linchpin of that midfield probably tells you the Celtics just aren't playing high enough up the pitch. There is the Celtics stats and Del Piero, Kovacevic, and a couple of the other lads who maybe should be getting forward, just not getting many touches. Anything sticking out for you there for the Celtics?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Davids is doing okay, but again, none of his tackles being key. He's 1 out of 4 headers. Just it's hard, but they're getting pressured by some extremely good players out there, extremely good side that just keep going. So it's. I mean, like I say, I'm in similar position to Greavesy where you're trying to get something that works. So last night it worked for him. But when you play a champion team, it's hard for it to carry on.
Both managers go as is at half time, nice and quickly. Thanks, gentlemen. We jump to 65 as Burn come forward. A penalty driver from Sigalko, that sounded like, or looked like rather. And we still are at 1-0. Probably more bookings than we normally see for Burn, although you'd expect those players that have got them to be doing that dirty work to be getting those bookings. Do you think Edwards does anything radical here, or do you think he maybe just covers one of those big tacklers in the midfield with a sub?
I mean, I don't think he does. I think he's always everybody knows him as is. I mean, the one thing is, I think because he's gone big for Alias, I genuinely think it's stifled what Jeremy's did for that team. But just having him sat there outside of Ferguson, you're happy. Like when I won it, Zinone, there were 7 merchants sat in midfield, won loads of tackles, this, that, and other. I just think we're getting more out of Jeremy's somehow, but
So Ian goes as is, nice and quick, appreciate it. And also Greavesy is in there with Riziki for the Marcelino Coloca, however you want to pronounce it. So it's an AM on for an AM for Greavesy, but no system or shape change. A point would be really, really good for Celtics if they will manage to get one from here, given how little they've been in the game. We get to 93 minutes out of nowhere, literally within 2 seconds, and there's a yellow card, and that is the final whistle, and not for the first and not for the last time. It reads Northern Burn 1, someone else nil, with Sigalko with the key goal for his side.
Regardless of the goal, though, that how many times do you see that though late on in games where Burn are winning and it just shuts out and minutes just fly by and they just completely just shut the game down? Massive kudos to Ian, really.
Yeah, it just looks so solid from front to back, doesn't it? And you know, when you think they've kind of carried their 2 AMs there, you know, they've really done nothing special at all. Petkovic has hardly been involved really, but actually the other 9 men have seen the job out. And again, Chiotis has got 3 touches of the ball, and you probably expect that that's just 3 hoofs of the ball clear, not actually being made to do anything spectacular at all. For Greavesy, I suppose that kind of middle 3 triumvirate of Gattuso, Tomati and Davids have done their job. Lucio having a splendour there, but just probably saying what we'll say all season and what Greavesy already knows, just not enough creativity at the top end of the pitch, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of players that have been harshly done to over both sides. I mean, Lucio there, does he deserve that 6? I don't think so. I don't think Sammy Upia deserved these 6, looking at Ian. But I think it just shows how tight the game was. It was just an hard-fought game, wasn't it?
And Burn now start to put real pressure on the teams behind them. They've got a 4-point gap as it stands between Casuals, Fulchester and Cosmos, all of whom have got pretty tricky games tonight, I think. So we go over to the third game on the lineup, and we are going to go with Vikings against Asta. Vikings, another one of those sides like Dragons, like Cosmos, like Fulchester, who seem to have been bitten by the sickness bug a little bit. We'll not click on them and give anything away that Jens doesn't want to reveal. But this is very much what we come to expect from Vikings now. And of course, we have to give Jens a lot of credit for last night. 2-0 down, with half an hour to play. He makes a change and he brings these 2 lads on. And Romeo, even though he's in match stats don't necessarily reflect it, he was bang in the middle of everything he did text-wise, Steve.
Yeah, he had a goal disallowed as well, didn't he? I believe after to make it 3-2, had one disallowed, I think, as well. So yeah, I mean it's solid. I think the where Jens has faltered slightly this year is coming away from this, trying to fit. Obviously, he's got Ado, Biscan, and Desai, try to fit them all in to playing DMC as well. But it's what stood him in good stead last year, and he's got players that play this formation. Obviously, enough were great for Agis in last save as well, playing at right wing. I'm not a fan of him playing right wing, but you know he did great and he can do. And obviously, he's 2 centre halves, just complete rock.
Goa has got the nod so far this season over the much discussed Iron Robin, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. Asta last night were beaten by Dragons 4-0, but certainly the match stats didn't necessarily indicate that it was that much of a romp. He goes to this, which kind of looks like a little bit of a Christmas tree kind of thing going on, but actually you can see the kind of logic in this. Match them up 4 in the midfield, try and outnumber Desai, and try and maybe feed Inzaghi with a few chances. Steve, any thoughts on Asta?
Yeah, I mean, I like Inzaghi. I had him part of my team. He's good in big games. The one player that I do like in Mike's team, and I never really went for him. I know Rock's comment on him with Locatelli. I know he's obviously on the bench. It looks really, really good in the save, and it's interesting to see him in league. I mean, I like Emondo as well. I tried for Emondo from Rob loads of times at last save just to put in, and he was sat in his reserves all the time. I don't know why it never happened, but yeah, when you've got an Adrian AMC partnership, you've got Johnny Cheddar. You can't see past a 2-0 Vikings win as much as I love Mike.
Yeah. Conceded 4 against Stanley, conceded 4 against Dragons, and Mike has just said if it's another 4, then he's going to be a little bit lost for words. Asta starting early with a couple of free kicks there, but there is that man Romeo again, bang involved and into the mix. A lot of Mike Duff there in the text, and a lot of blue and red after a decent first 10-15 minutes from Asta. Not much has happened, and we're also at 40 minutes Inzaghi with a chance to Berea in there, Totti, and offside, but with a little bit of a kind of mishandle there. But actually, we get to half time fairly quickly, and I'd be very surprised if there's anything in the stats, and there isn't. Is that a case of both sides just cancelling each other out, Steve?
Yeah, look at them tackles, one though from Vikings. I don't think I've ever seen 90% at half time. That's massive.
Good spot. Good spot.
But yeah, again, you've got a clump of players all in similar positions, barring two AMC, one striker against an AMC and two strikers. So
yeah, there was a spate of 5s for Asta at half time against Dragons. I cannot remember how far back that goes in terms of against Stanley, if that was the case. But he's definitely on the kind of the wrong end of some match ratings from the Game Engine, I think, at the minute. And saying that, Vikings aren't necessarily much better, but it does look as though those tackle counts, 90% of all tackles, that's only kind of one tackle that's been missed. Actually, if you pick it apart, that does see Vikings get slightly higher match stats, but some of them players are also struggling with passes and actually doing anything. So definitely a case of them both cancelling each other out. Are you doing anything massive here if you're either side?
I mean, I don't think I would. In fairness, probably pull Bergkamp off on a 5, but I think a couple of players looking at both sides are a bit harsh in what they've got. I mean, Klompe there, he's had no headers, but he hasn't won any headers, but he's had none to win. Bit looks of that. So and a 7, and same with Mike's lot. There's a couple like Johnny Cheddar. I don't think that 5's warranted. He's won plenty of tackles in there as well. So
yeah,
strange thing this game does.
There's a couple of changes for Vikings that have just came in. So Duff for D'Alessandro, so he's definitely going for it here, Jens. Swap with Hoseva. Thoughts on D'Alessandro generally?
I'm never been a massive fan. I brought him in at Dudley prior. He played a few games, didn't do well. I'm not a great fan of his.
And it does look to be a little bit more 50-50 as we get into that second half. And just on 60 minutes, there's a devastating cross from someone. I didn't see who it was. And Impenza puts the ball in the back of the net. Slightly different equation this at 60 minutes now for Savage.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I mean, there is some that across that 4. I mean, I think Perez has been really good in the entirety so far for Mike, in fairness. It's just like, what can you do? I think that's the thing you worry about. But look, I'll tell you what, if Jens has got a centre-half partnership, that's probably the best in the league now as a pairing.
Yeah.
If everything in front of it can click, there's no reason why he can't go on to have a very, very good season. Yeah,
absolutely. I think probably, if you're being hypercritical, it's probably just this area of the pitch that maybe the question mark's over, but actually behind it is littered with quality throughout. I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on the chat because neither bloke has told me what they want to do, so that kind of tells us that there's maybe a few wholesale changes coming for both. So we'll just hang on ever so slightly. Interesting that Savage made the decision to drop Eleftheropoulos, I think that's how you say it, and Hans-Jörg Butters actually seems to be doing his bit after a little bit of a torrid time with keepers. But again, we look and we've got big-ish players for him in terms of names, just not quite doing it. Still haven't seen any subs come through. So gents, if you can just let me know when you get a chance, that would be great. Are you seeing anything come through there, Steve?
No, not as yet. I've seen a comment from Dan. But yeah, no, I totally agree, mate. But see, the setup and the formation for Mike can work. It's just, again, it's the players that are in there that just they should be doing better for some of them that they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen anything from
Mike's in now.
Savage, there we go.
Yeah, Pires to AML, Conceição to AMR, Bergkamp off for Locatelli, and Bridges on to partner.
Say that again.
Prince
Bridges
AML.
on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Burkamp off for Locatelli. Bridges on to partner SC.
Burkamp. Hang on, let's start again. There's the AML AMR.
Yeah.
Burkamp off for Bridges.
Burkamp off for Bridges, yeah.
And then 2 up. And I'm guessing centralising that. Savage, if you just let me know that that's grand, mate, that'd be great. Hi, Brian's ticked off wholesale changes on the bingo card. Fantastic. Davey Collins is surprised if you complete the full house tonight, lads.
I'm glad he ticked that off before it got to my game.
And here we go. As Asta try to scramble something and end their rough run of form over the last couple of game weeks. Looks to be a lot more gold and blue since they've pushed those 2 wing backs right up top. Here come the Vikings with Mpenza. Bishgan gets in the front of a shot to deflect it. Yellow for Edmundo, Totti, Mpenza. And there is the second from Mpenza. And that is just about all she wrote. Followed by yellow card from Wes Brown. And it just isn't happening for the Asta boys. We'll not slow it down. Another yellow card there. And it looks to be Vikings coming forward for a third. Can you get the third? Mido very nearly did. And pretty clinical and professional from the Vikings. Something they're starting to do more and more often, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, look at that though. They obviously caused some problems in the second half with the tackle one dropping down to 66%. But yeah, Jens will be delighted with that after coming back from what he did last night, and then Mpenza turning up for him finally. I do think Mpenza's been given a little bit of a boost given his save when Fifey won it, personally.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, he's won 7 of 13 tackles there, hasn't he? He's won one of his 2 headers. I don't think that constitutes a 4 personally.
What has happened there to give that a 4? Genuinely, that is absolutely nuts. The same with last night. They had 5s and 4s, and actually there wasn't like much to be 5 and 4ish about really, other than the first half from the keeper. That is
look at Perez. Perez has had none at ball hardly. Yeah, I know he's won a tackle, he's won an header. So what constitutes 6 there when Jenny Cheddar's done far more? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a strange one. It's a bit of a signal that for Mike. Do you think it must? Do you think he's going to kind of change radically what he's looking to do there?
No, I don't think he'll go too bonkers. I still don't think we'll see arrows, but I don't think he'll go too mad. Yeah, and I agree. Mike just said those right in the bollocks. I don't get. I genuinely don't either.
Yeah, I don't either. I absolutely don't. On to a resurgent Rob Slott's PPP. We'll move, I think, a little bit swiftly on this one. Brozek is out and Makoko comes in, and George Costa, who had a stinker last game, gets dropped for who did you bring up? Melito comes in instead. Any thoughts on Rob Slott's resurgence in general this season, Steve?
Yeah, I mean they've got the base of a good side, haven't they? It's what happens when you look at his bench injuries. I know you're a big advocate of Richie Willens. Dean Richards for me as well. Is far. I think he's very underrated on game. He's not far. I think Tottenham start will want to. If you're getting away the top sides, probably want better centre half partnerships. Brozek's been decent last couple of weeks for him, and you know what? It's nice to see Rob doing well again, having a smile on his face again.
Talking about smiles on faces, someone who definitely hasn't got a smile on his face at the moment, in real football and life, up the Ev, and also in fake football life. Obviously, you're probably going to be just a little bit careful with what you're saying, given where White Rose are at the minute. But is this a team that should be struggling to score goals, or is this something that Badgers just need to ride out and plug away with, Steve?
I think what's feeding what is generically one of the best strikers on the game. Is it a wonder he's struggling to score a little bit with Rayad, who he brought in and did okay last time out? Emerton, I don't think he's NMR. I think he only get numbers out of him DMR. Gustavo Lopez, brilliant last save. did crap for Greavesy, crap for me, did okay for Ian, Byrne for a little bit. Vlahovic obviously got his goal last night. I think bar Amar, I don't think there's too much behind Van Nistelrooy to feed him enough. And I don't like saying that because I love the Spudman. He's
yeah, absolutely. I think you've not said anything too harsh or anything that Tato would disagree with you. £5 free bet. What scorelines are going on here, Steve?
3-2 Badgers.
And just as he gives his prediction, there is only the second goal of the season, I think, maybe the third, for Badgers, and it does look a lot of Badgers. We've played half an hour already, and Vlahovic has put the blue and the black into the lead. 6 minutes added on time that I see there. Yellow card for Ambrosini, who needs to be making those tackles in the middle of the pitch with Imar today. Van Nistelrooy misses a chance, and another one goes begging, and that is half time with not a lot in response from PPP, but a very, very black and blue dominant Texty.
Yeah, definitely. That's, I mean, that if you got 3-8s at half time, that's massive. Kimuna is really coming to his own since Tato's brought him in. I know people don't like talking about it, but if you click on him from like the start of like the save that got shared, it looks very good. It looks better than you see him on home saves as well. So yeah, I think it's plenty of base to build on there for Tato. Just needs that extra bit of creativity, doesn't it?
Yeah. George, he's saying he can't figure out if Forest or Everton are worse than Leeds. Tato going as is, and Robert is straight in with who's he going there? Sorry, he's going punt on for Smith. Punt on for Smith and arrows on Salihamidzic and Kandaya forward. Rob, if you just confirm that you're happy with that, or do you mean all the way forward? That's probably Badgers' best 45 minutes of the season. And we're 6 games in.
Yeah, he's gone Wellens for Petit as well, was what we haven't seen. I mean, the thing is, there's something about that formation that Rob's playing. I know he's done okay. Something about it where it should, for all intents and purposes, be successful in this league with players that play in it. But that format, Scott alluded to it before a lot. There's something about that formation that just don't work in Super League.
There's something about a midfield diamond, like a classic midfield diamond, just does not work. And I've tried it 100 times. Wow, we got it just before 60 minutes as I pressed, and then we jumped to 71 minutes absolutely out of nowhere. So apologies for that, boys. Rob, we'll just show you first, because you're not going to be able to do that much as you've only got one change. But there are your match ratings. Rocky Jr.
Went he on a 9 last night, Rocky Jr.?
Yeah, he had a blinder last night, didn't he? But a centre-half again, he ships one out and then another centre-half comes in and doesn't look great. Badgers look fairly solid throughout the sides, couple of 6s in there. Imar, maybe the worry, but there's the fitness. And Robert goes as is, so we'll just give Tato a couple of seconds just to have a little bit of a look. Are you doing anything if you're Tato here, or are you just holding firm and seeing the job out?
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at his 4 at back, Butler, Johnson, Samuel and Kimuna are just seeing it out there, in my opinion. They're all on 3 of them on 8s, 1 on a 9. It's going to be difficult to break down for Rob.
Yeah. Straight swap for Tato. Lopez up for Swiatkowski, and the rest is as is. And we'll see if Tato's boys can get the job done. Get 75 minutes there. Van Nistelrooy has an effort. Riyad amongst it. And now we will slow this one down because I think it kind of warrants it. Swiatkowski is 20 yards out, curls it in, it goes over the bar. We really haven't seen anything from PPP so far. It would be a sucker punch if they were to manage to get one chance, maybe to Shevchenko. Ambrosini, Sam well heads it up way. Wellens passes in at the area. Saha hits the side netting. And you think that might just be about all she wrote because he gets offside only a minute later. Joico Johnson hits the upright, looks for Imar. Gabriel Melito, the 2 Argentinians going toe-to-toe. Emerson now to Wellens with a pass to the left. Alan Smith chips the ball forward. Shevchenko was blocked out by Kimuna, but it's a fair tackle, says the referee. Imar with a pass in the area. Riyad, Vlahovic and Emerson clears for PPP. Have they got one more chance in them, but it'll have to be on the counter-attack. Kandaya swings it in. Kimuna, Vlahovic puts it naturally over, and that is going to be. Is that going to be full time? It's not. We're still going here. We're into 5 minutes of added on injury time. Melina turns it around the corner. Vlahovic gets up ahead of goal. well and clears it, and Badgers, in a very un-Badgers-like way, see the game out with a comprehensive, probably about as comprehensive a 1-0 win as you can get, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 3 only on target out of 11, so I wonder how many are on long shots from there. But yeah, they were they're more than worthy of that win.
Walter Samuel, sorry to interrupt. Look at Walter Samuel there. What a beast.
Yeah,
what a beast.
But he's not got one at match. Look at
I know. He's been outdone by the definitely less fancied Kamuna, but that's solid front to back. Tato, so well done, mate. The sub also didn't do too bad coming on. Couple of 5s in there for Rob, a lot of 6s. Really didn't challenge at the right end of the pitch, did they? You know, they only were the fifth of the game was spent in that final third, as the match stats reflect. Anything for Rob there, or does he just kind of move it on? It's an away game in the Super League and crack on with it.
Yeah, well, he's been competent last few weeks, got some good results. Just a case of just chalk it up as a loss away, and then just go again.
Yeah, I think so. Chalk it up and move on. We are going to go next to East Coast Cosmos versus the Dragons. And Dimble, I kind of mentioned it earlier, he's one of 4 sides that do struggle a little bit this week with injuries. And I think he posted on Twitter that Volodenkov is going to miss a fair few games. Massive miss, but still this 11 looks solid, Steve.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the one thing that I'm surprised not to see involved on the bench is Stanic, because he looks fantastic. Probably as a striker as well. But yeah, you can see why. You look at Dimble subs, he's got players that can drop in and play anywhere and fit in to whatever. If anybody gets injured, he's got somebody that can drop in regardless. But yeah, they've had a really solid start to the season. Defensively, you know, he's been better defensively previously. But you just know that you feel that they will grind results out, they will grind things out.
A win tonight would see them into second with Fulchester and Casuals still to play, who are both away. Dragons go entirely as is from last night. Still not 100% happy with kind of the formation that we're playing. Any thoughts on Dragons tonight, Steve?
The thing, me personally, I mean, I know Foye had a great game last night. If I've got a criticism of this Dragons lineup, it's probably your bench. You've got 2 DMCs, DMLCs, plus Archie Back was probably not a striker when you could have Shimkoviak could cover probably everything that Lee Young does there. But as a team, obviously this formation has served me well previously. Egan looks absolutely unreal, and
doesn't he? He looks better than I think anybody expects from an outer league that previously hadn't played a ball. So shout out to Wooder for that. Any predictions for this one? It's a repeat of the semi-final from last year, Steve.
2-1 Cosmos. Apologies.
Best of luck, Dimble, mate. And there is Henri with an early goal who puts Cosmos 1-0 out. And there is Lee Boyer sent off. And there is some problems for Dragons to sort out. What will we do here? We cannot go without a midfielder because of how Cosmos play. So, unfortunately, it's going to be Constantino hooked because Maniero's in a better form. We're going to go with Tudor. And we're going to do that. Let's crack on. Cosmos 1-0 up and Dragons down to 10 men. It's going to be an uphill battle for Cosmos here. Chance there for Maniero, it looked like, but a lot of possession from the green and the white. Yellow card for Hagen, Cordoba coming forward, Ehiog to Cafu, and Dragons said, I thought that was a red card for Dragons. So it looks as though Paredes got sent off for a sub. And Dimble, I apologise because I made the sub and I didn't give I didn't get the chance to give Dimble a chance to change it up. That was because I just didn't want to take too long on comms. Yeah, I think yeah, absolutely. Sorry, lads, missed that totally. So Dimble's now got a chance to change, and I will not, in response, change what I was going to do, what I would do, because I missed that. That rule still stands.
Say that Tudor's off as well. Is that right?
Yeah, Yeah, I thought Tudor was off and Dragons were down to 9 men. I was just about to say Dragons down to 9 men, so fuck knows what's happening there. So Dimble, apologies for that, mate. If you can let us know what changes you want to make here, and then obviously I'll kind of try and keep my changes to a bare minimum. If after I've changed, if Tudor's off and I change, I'll then give you a chance to change again. I think that's only fair. We're in the twilight zone now, where we're fucking kind of dream within a dream inception shit, change within a change within a change. So yeah, apologies for that. Is my mouse spring loaded? Yeah, well, I've changed my mouse because the other one was like a jackrabbit. Hodgie saying. It's fine. Brugging for Youngberg. Keep me right, SD. Brugging for Youngberg.
Yep. Youngberg ML.
Yeah.
Metkov MC. Vogel back to DMC and centralise Henri with no arrow.
Is Tudor off? Oh, fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Okay, so we'll go like that. Dimble, if you want to do anything in response, then let me know. Dimble, if you want to do...
Some fat neck some fat neck in chat's just giving you pelleters, mate. Why take a cost?
Because I know what the fuck I want, mate.
Well, last night he scored a couple of goals.
Maniero scored 5 in like 3 games. 9 men unbeaten this season. That's a fair point. Dimble just let it know. Okay, lovely, excellent. Right, let's see what madness ensues here. Fuck hell, what a game. Chance for Coast as we reach half time. Oh, there's very nearly another red I thought was coming there. And I'll go with the drive. And we get to half time, and it is Coast 1, Dragons 0, and Dragons have offered absolutely nothing with 9 men. I'll bring up Dimble's changes and stats first of all, so you can have a little look and a little think about what he wants to do. I think we've probably got to go for it a little bit here. We've got to come away here with at least a bit of a point. Got to be some punches thrown for a double red. Let's just have a little look at the match report. Oh yeah, took away the legs of Henri. Probably professional foul, I reckon. Last man. And then Tudor pushed Paredes away. Tudor was kicked by Paredes, and they both got a red card for a little bit of handbags. So let's see what we can do here. We're going to go back to this, and we're going to go like this. We're going to go like that, I think. Yeah, fuck it. That's how we'll go.
I think it looks solid with 9, does that, in fairness.
I mean, what can you do, really? What can you do? Dimble, go to 60.
Okay. Youngberg's having a blinder, though.
He's having a blinder, isn't he, since coming on? Tackling everything. Dragons make a tactical change, and there's a lot of space. Oh, Jesus Christ, steady on, boys. Fuck me. It's a throw in, 49 minutes. Ortega and Algar, Victor Bayer saves it. It's a save, and we come up to 60 minutes. What can Dragons do here? I suppose I haven't banged on about it for absolutely fucking ages. I think we've got to go one at the back, you know. And let's have a bit of mad shit. Let's do this. There we go. Dimble, anything you're doing there, mate? Would I ask him what the fuck I'm doing? We've got 9 men. What do you want us to fucking do? Like, what genuinely can you do? We've not had a shot on target. We've not done anything. And we're only 1-0 down, thank fuck. So maybe we can sneak it.
I think he just wants Lednev playing. He's not asses.
He does, mate. Yeah. Go and see the reserves. I think he might play for Horses Australia. Dimble, what are you doing there, mate? Are you staying as is? Chinese right in that formation. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Dragons going for it. We've got to try and get something from this game. I think we're going all the way to the end. Let's see if we can get a goal and make it interesting. There's another booking for Dragons. They've had about 14 cards this game, cleared off the line. Here comes Dragons coming forward. Free kick. Ronaldinho has a go. Foy. Another yellow card. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Have that, Wooder. Stick it up your snouter. We're gonna go slow fast rather for the last 10 minutes. Lizarazu with another booking for Dragons. That must be about 8 yellow cards. Vogel to Youngberg and Elka in the area. Oh, 2-1. 2-1 for Cosmos, and that is the winning goal, you would imagine. Dragons have done nothing other than that one chance, and they're not going to really look to create much more, I don't think. Ronaldinho misses the target. That could just be about it. Anelka to Henri, Lizarazu, Foy, Cafu. Ronaldinho goes down, free kick. Can he do anything with this free kick? Wall deflects the shot. Pekov makes the clearance. East Coast withhold the pressure. Offside. And here come Cosmos, probably just running in at the corner to see the game out. Another free kick for Cosmos. What's your betting here on how many yellows there's going to be?
Yeah, crazy. The amount of them that kept popping up. I tell you what, it's a valiant effort though, is that?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards. That is absolutely nuts. And well done, Dimble. Well done, mate. I thought we might have just snuck something. But Cosmos roll on even with 10. Anything sticking out for you there with Cosmos, Steve?
I mean, Thierry Henry, finally looking like the player he should be. I know he posts little bits and bats. But Vogel, though, dropping back, doing what he needed to do. Pekov, I'm sure Pekov were on like a 8 or 9 at half time. He's obviously dropped down from moving about, but it's just a game littered with kicking each other in it.
Yeah, and not much really of interest for Dragons. I thought we did all right, to be fair, to make a decent game of it, but that's going to be, a fair few suspensions next game. We didn't have a midfield anyway. Boya's now out, Chudo's now out, so fuck knows who's going to be playing in there. But well done, Dimble, and the Cosmos train rolls on. A lot of love for that game in the text, I think. Definitely feels like a Rock's favourite, that game. And I think he said his game of the season so far. So on to Haggis against Fulchester Phoenix. Haggis, who were clinical last night and looked really, really strong from start to finish. Any thoughts on this tactics side, newly under the stewardship of Rocks? We don't know how long it's going to be for, but fairly impressive.
Yeah, I mean, obviously before last night, I think Deisler with 2 9s in 2 with a goal and assist in 2 games. I think last night all 3 DMCs were absolutely on top of everything. It's solid tactic. It suits the players that they've got. Not much. Morientes as well. A couple of goals last night as well. I think Azodji knows. Azodji's done out of him. He's probably 1 in 2 in Super League. Morientes. I think he's massively underrated. Probably a nice little deal. The interesting thing is Rossini going out of reserves when playing Amoroso, when Rossini's got far more. What's the word? He's got far more pull in the league than Amoroso.
Yeah. Rocks absolutely hates him, though. He sent me just like a stream of abuse about Rossini wanting him to be dropped down. Ryan, just while we do a bit of pre-match analysis, if you can just let us know who you want your captain to be there, mate, with the new tactic file. The narrow has popped up about 3 or 4 times tonight, which I don't think any of us were really expecting. Any thoughts on this Fulchester Phoenix side? Ryan was obviously one of the first to get his business done. Any thoughts, Steve?
Well, I've seen there Ryan's a bit like me when he goes auto captain, just like game decide. But I never thought I'd ever see Ryan borderline copying Greavesy for the tactic when he's done okay. So it's. I know he's playing and he's dealt at minute with injuries, suspensions, and blah blah. But I think if they come away with a point here tonight, I think he's done well given their tactic, given Giggs is going to run riot down that left side.
And if he does, Haggis will be absolutely banging to the mix of that top 4 sides. Early yellow card there for Haggis. Are we going to say the same 14 cards that we did last game? Another book in there. Vieri still has it, who started off very, very well this season. Vieri in the area, but he's offside. Amoroso with a booking. Looks as though there's a lot of ball for Haggis and Morientes, who I think a lot of us would love to see him have a run. puts Haggis 1-0 up on 23 minutes. Rakelmir with a chance but puts it just over. Prutton involved in Nedved, but now Dijsland Morientes again, but couldn't keep that second strike down. Here comes Fulchester Phoenix, but Stam gets the booking now. And another booking for Vieri. There's something in the air tonight. And there is a header from Amoroso, who scores to put Haggis 2-0 up on the stroke of half time. We had 5 minutes of added time there. I panicked ever so slightly and thought we were hurtling above 60. And then remembered we were only in the first half. 6 yellow cards, fairly solid from Haggis State.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it to be this sort of comfortable for him, in fairness. But, you know, when you got something so changed up from his side that, I mean, I know he had to change it up, did Ryan, last time out playing his wingers and his DMCs. But yeah, I mean, you can't knock what Haggis have done there in that first half. It's really, really, really solid, and Tommy Graveson's not covering himself in glory, is he?
Yeah, and the front two just being totally blocked off there, or the front three totally being blocked off there by that wall, the Great Wall of Scotland, Hadrian's Wall, Rox's Wall, Campbell's Wall, whatever you want to call it. Let's just see if we're doing anything. Helguera for Woodgate from Rox. Protecting that yellow card. And then if we see if... Yeah, absolutely fine. Go for it, Ryan, mate. I'll just move the game window ever so slightly and try and keep up as best as I can. I'm guessing it's probably going to involve maybe a bit of width today. Probably maybe going to a flat 4 across the middle. Cole and Prutton.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though. Maybe... Ashley Cole with that 8 from that left DMC, like pushing out. That's a decent performance from him, in fairness. There's just, apart from him, there's just not much going on, is there? When
yeah, I would be tempted to. So okay, so Grav off for Battigol. So Gravison off for Battigol. Prutton single DMC. Yep. I think when you do make wholesale changes, it probably is better to just break it down like Ryan's doing. It just makes it a little bit clearer. So that's his first one. It's probably going to go 3 up top tier, do you reckon, Steve? Maybe Nedved or one of the wings?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got a lot of left-sided players, hasn't he? Alex, Cole, Nedved. So I don't know about him going... If he's going with Prutton as a single CDM, I can't see him playing wingers per se, because, let's say, he's got Cole who can play there, Alex, Nedved. Crespo's creative enough to be able to do that, though, as well.
Yeah, definitely. If you just let me know what you want to do with Ashley Cole there. I reckon one of these two is coming off for Seacone, however you want to call it, and probably goes to single MC with Cole left and Seacone right. Something like that, maybe.
Probably Juninho, I would have thought, because Seacone is centre half, isn't
he? Is he not DMR?
No.
DRC. Kelmy central. Alex left wing. Cole off for Juninho. Yep, you called it, Steve, mate. Cole off for Juninho. There we go. Any arrows on the wingers, Ryan? Would I say he's bang up for comms? We've got loads on at the minute. Yeah, I think definitely a Dimble, a Ryan, or a Fifey show would be great. I don't think anybody wants to hear the two of us on comms together. Be 90% of the league's worst nightmare, I reckon.
Yeah, because I think when you were both last on comms, it was that night when Michael Owen scored 2 goals in that in a minute against Dudley for Fulchester.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all out, lads, and I did destroy them.
Yeah. Tato saying there's a lot of love for that from his home save formation. Cheers for breaking those down as clearly as you could. I think not being here, Ryan, appreciate it, mate. Fulchester coming for what I did like the look of that tactic, and there is a big injury for Haggis, who look to be falling foul to that injury bug that's going around the whole league at the minute. Juan Gomez, is it probably Donny into MC or maybe Figo?
well, knowing Rocks, the 2-0 up, would it be somebody in midfield, Algera at DMC, and I won it back? But who knows?
Yeah, all bets are off, I think, when it comes to Rocks. But whatever he's doing, it's definitely reaping rewards. Michelini to central DMC.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot
to DMCL, and Donny to AMC. So he's not backing down. As we march towards 60, Junior Paulista with a chance, Nedved with a chance. Looks to be a lot more Fulchester since they went with those 3 AMCs and no central as we reach 60 minutes. One more chance for Fulchester before we pause.
Scholes' right-hand column can let him think he can play like DMC, but that's never seen that.
You can see the kind of logic. Ryan's went 3 AMs to try and block out that, the low block wall, to try and maybe free up a bit of space for the likes of Batistuta. Rocks doesn't want to change that. It doesn't want to be overwhelmed by 3 absolute pedigree players. Ryan, if you just let us know if you want to do anything there, mate. I'll just hop over to Haggis while we wait, who look very, very solid. Very, very solid. Rocks is in... Ryan is in with his change. So we've got Prutton for Sicione, however you're going to say that. Someone will pull us up. Southgate at DMC, done. Rocks, if you just let us know if you want to roll or if you're happy with what you've got there on screen at the minute.
Prutton's on 8 there. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I mean, who is anybody to question Ryan with in the league but he's sat on an 8. It's interesting.
This would be a massive win for Haggis, because it would pull them, within 2 points of East Coast, the real chase and pack, and some real distance between certainly the top 4 and the lower end of the league at the minute. Figo for Amoroso is the change from the Haggis boys as we roll until full time, and we'll see if Fulchester can do what Vikings did to them last night and come back from 2-0 down to steal a point, having been the second best side. And there's a red card, another red card of the night. I think that takes us up to 4 red cards for the evening. It's got to be a one at the back here from Rock, surely.
I mean, I would have thought, given it 68 minutes, given the 2 up, but you don't know whether he might finally just twitch a little bit. Just to well, I mean, he's got no options in terms of bringing people on. So maybe Michelini pull back or Paulinho Santos pull back. But
yeah. There comes a point for us all where the seriousness of Super League makes us jeopardise the things that we hold dear, isn't it? And it would be he hasn't. He's went one at the back. Fair play to you, Rocks, mate. Fair play. You're a bigger man than most of us. And sorry, that's a red card. Let's see if Fulchester want to do anything there. Ryan, do you want to do anything there? I very nearly forgot. So do you want to do anything in response? He went one at the back, still got those 3 DMs there. Are you doing anything more than you've already done? Ste, are you staying on for the internationals with Horse, or are you going to dive off when he jumps on? Or
we'll see, mate. I've got to be up. Oliver, he needs to have something to eat before 7 o'clock in the morning, so.
Oh, all right. Hang on. Sorry, I've missed the Haggis change. Helguera Central. Donny MC, Figo AM, and Morientes Central, I'm guessing. Like that, Rocks. Apologies, I missed that. Text came through in like a clump there. You one at the back text came before the actual other changes. Apologies. Ryan, are you wanting to do anything there, mate? I'm all good. Okay, let's see. Shall we slow this one down, I think? Haven't done many of that tonight. And we're good for time. We're only just over an hour. So let's see if Fulchester can at least make the Haggis boys twitch ever so slightly. Stam on gigs, free kick. Steps and strikes a free kick. Look to be able to take that twice. Don't know what happened there. Gigs again. Looks to be a little bit of a Giggs and Stam battle for this last 10 minutes. Thierry straight offside. 4 minutes added on. Surely that now this is Fulchester Phoenix's defeat. And Haggis has 3 points to really put them into the mix. Nedved, Helguera, Alex springing forward, goes past Figo, but he takes a tactical foul there. Nedved with the free kick. Haggis hold on to the ball. Stam, Sicone running forward, Batistuta, Crespo, Paulista, all the players that Fulchester Phoenix would be wanting to see amongst it, but just not getting through that Haggis defence, even with the one centre-half. Paulinho Santos gets it clear. Vieri with plenty of time, can't see much of the goal, but he puts it well wide, and that is full time. And for the second time in 2 nights, a really professional performance from this Haggis 11. And lo and behold, central to it, as we always say, is Ryan Giggs with a 10 and a man of the match. Steve?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Paulinho Santos again there with another 9. These like DMCs, they're contributing massively to what Haggis are doing. It's been I know people joke about testing or what people know, but Ian getting Rocks in to pick a couple of players up and whatnot. Obviously, if the save were to go on 5-6 seasons like other ones have, they're going to start needing replacing in 2 or 3 seasons' time. But in the current, just been phenomenal. I mean, Dazzler dropping down that 7 from an 8, probably going to be disappointing given his previous performances. But yeah, going about the business, and they've done great again.
Yeah, some regrets there for Ryan. Says he wasn't kind of happy with going with the tactic that he did. But I know he was a little bit pushed for time this weekend. So the time plus the injuries probably put him a little bit under some pressure. That brings us to the highlight reel of the evening. Well done, Rocks. Well done, Haggis. And unlucky Ryan there. And we start with your opponents tonight, the home side, the Walton Casual side, Steve, who looked solid, won 1-0 last night. Anything you'd like to add for kind of Hodges boys and what you've seen this season?
I mean, Clivert's firing in there. I think that's your big thing. He's got Clivert going. I did try send a little message and try talk about Clivert before we sorted out the Pizarro deal, and he just said, "No, I'm going to keep my faith. I'm going to stick with him." And you know what? It's proved. Listen, he's just been
scored in every game this season. I hadn't noticed that. Clivert has scored in every game this season. That is massive.
Yeah, well, I didn't notice that. I know he'd done well. Didn't realise he'd done that well. So
yeah, I hadn't either. So credit to him for that. And then without Hersey tonight, and Ronaldo just comes in for a straight swap for a slight knock for Hersey. White Rose game week 6, lights off. This is what I believe is an old Dudley Hill tactic file. Steve, what are you trying to do here tonight?
Try something a little bit different. I think when it come to last night, and I changed, I put little Aaron Guerrero got involved. Obviously, he scored from free kicks, so I don't think you can say whether it were what he did or the arrow or this, that, and other. But yeah, I mean, you look at the team we've got. It's frustrating to say the least. I think that's the.
And probably Ste Wright of 3 or 4 years ago, you'd have kind of ripped it up and tried to start again. But actually, older, wiser, you've got that start to your name. Probably a little bit more mature, would you say, in terms of the champ world?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Just keep something. I didn't want to change anything up this year, but just got to play something of an ilk. I think that's the thing. Just keep something normalish in all the time.
But yeah, it becomes really hard to know where it's went wrong if you start doing mad shit and you're still getting beat anyway, doesn't it? As Casuals look to have been the better side, but we have lots of yellow cards again. Interestingly, last season started off with a hell of a lot of yellow cards, and this season looks to be following suit. Although it did die out towards the back end. A little bit of a 50-50, top end of the pitch, bottom end of the pitch from both there. Oh, and there is a goal, and that is what White Rose would have wanted to see. It is Pizarro versus Clivert tonight. There's only one person that's been winning that battle this season, but for the first time this season, White Rose are on top at half time. Ste Wright?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're doing okay. And I mean,
you're not wanting to put any mockers on it at all, are you?
No, but it don't look as the stats showed well.
I'll just pull Hodges' stats up with you being on co-coms, mate. Sorry to interrupt you. Hodges, I'll just pull yours up first. Yeah, go on, Steve.
I think that looks a better performance from Casuals in terms of ratings. Obviously, game stats say different, but yeah, see, this is the thing, yeah. Do you stick or twist, and you've got a lot of sixes there? That's the got Guerrero on a. No, I'm just gonna go as is, please, mate.
You going as is, mate? Yeah. I think to be honest, that's the sensible decision. And Hodgie also goes as is. Thank you, gents. That was nice and quick. As we start the second half, Sorochinski gets booked. There is a real spate of yellow cards tonight, an offside for Clivert, and there is the second goal for the main man, Pizarro. What a result this could be for Dudley Hill. We have tried to pause for 60 minutes, but it does get us to 61. And Ste Wright, hold on to your kicks, mate. You're 2-0 up.
Yeah, we just said what a result for Dudley Hill. I wish it was Dudley Hill, in fairness.
Did I? Is that what I said, was it?
Yeah.
Mate, everybody loves Dudley Hill, don't they? Do you know what I mean? The worst thing you ever did was sacking off Dudley Hill, mate.
Mate, honestly, yeah, it was so bad. Yeah, I shouldn't have done. But
Tato, honestly, Tato needs to get tested for bipolar. If he's not absolutely suicidal because the Badgers have been bummed, he thinks he's 5 points off being where he needs to be in the top 3. Honestly, yeah. I'd love to see a psychiatric test for Tato. Christ. Hodgie, if you can let me know what you'd like to do. Okay, lovely. Ronaldo up top, arrows on all 4 mids. He's coming for you, Steve.
Yes. Look at that. Just pull Vieira back to right, DMC, Clad to left, DMC, and then Guerrero still arrow, please, mate.
Like that, yeah?
Yeah, please, mate.
Okay, casuals have definitely came into it since the restart, and here they come forward. Another book in there for Lusisi this time, and there is Patrick Kluivert, and Ste Wright is going to be sweating here. There is a red card. Decor just came back into the side for this match after serving a suspension for what I believe was a straight red, and there is another red. I'm guessing Hodgie, being the person that he is probably just going to centralise Sorochinski and keep that midfield coming forward, I think.
Yeah, he's doing. I mean, look at Van der Vaart's guys out there. Sorochinski doing what it does for Hodgie as well. Just
a few of those half-time sixes have just taken a step up a little bit.
Yeah, which is a bit. I bet we don't look overly much better. In fairness, especially now it's gone back to.
Steve, you do get the chance to reply. You've taken Vieira out of that middle of the park, and now you've got 4 bodies running that. Yeah, you doing anything here?
Yeah, just bring Van Bronckhorst on for Guerrero and swap him with Vieira, please, mate.
Like that? With the arrow or without?
Oh, with arrow, please, mate.
Okay. And let's see if casuals can get back into the game with 10 men. Another yellow card. It's been crazy tonight. We've got 75 minutes played. Free kick to White Rose. They have a rare foray forward in this second half. We're at 80 minutes now. We're gonna just slow it down ever so slightly as we reach 10:15. Kluivert to Veron to Ronaldo. Yes, that was always the case. Anytime Europol gets a red, you can make a change. But I don't know if you've seen the text, but I missed that for Bimble before. Ziriberto in on Vieira with a massive tackle. 3 minutes of added on time. 3 minutes of added on time. Ziriberto still has it, sends it over. Kluivert powers the header at goal. And what a sickener for White Rose. Abiati didn't move. And Hodgie, not for the first time this season, he did it against Dragons, gets in there with a very, very late goal. Oh, it's a penalty.
Oh,
wow.
No.
Oh, no. Oh, it's saved. It's saved. It's saved. It's saved. Ziriberto plays the corner in. That could have been absolute. I thought that was going to be a repeat of Owen and Dudley Hill. That free kick for White Rose. Final whistle. And Ste Wright, you're probably grateful to get away with a point there in the end. That is. I mean, that is mental, really. Any thoughts, Steve? Full time.
Don't mate. Up at Pizarro's off at Mark. Yeah, I mean, look at that. That's That's if you're not winning. To be fair, if you're Hodgie there, you're not winning the game with that. With a couple of sevens in, you're fuming at you.
And that was genuinely a game of 2 halves. That move to go with the flat 4 on the arrows just seemed to absolutely overwhelm that DM line for you, Steve, and totally changed the kind of run of the game. And the casuals are the real deal this season. Anything for your boys there, Steve?
Yeah, we're just not good, are we? which is not good. I think that's probably but
Yeah.
we might come all right. But yeah, it's 5 games in, not having a win, 3 draws. We've only lost twice.
Yeah.
To only lost twice. Yeah, it's but honestly, it shows his faith in making sure he kept Clivert this year.
Yeah, Dimble made a point that he's on some sort of Vardy-like run. We're 6 games in and he's scored in all 6 games. I'm sure Swan will be able to dig up a stat there. So that brings us to the classifieds of the evening. Boothstown Badgers ran out comprehensive 1-0 winners against PPP. The Gazelles got a mighty away win, playing for more or less only half an hour, and ended up running out 2-1 winners against Bostock Stanley. East Coast Cosmos, in what was probably the Valentine's Day massacre, the 10 men of Cosmos played the 9 men of Dragons and came away with all 3 points. A huge result for them. Haggis were very solid from start to finish and ended up beating Fulchester Phoenix 2-0 at the Tatty Field in Wollongong, with Ferdinand again being sent off on top of what we've already seen. The Vikings were comprehensively solid, with Impenza looking to hit something like his best form, winning 2-0 and going up the 6th. Celtics were on the receiving end of another Northern Burn and Maxim Sigalko masterclass on the 24th minute to get all 3 points for Ian Edwards and co. And then lastly, but by no means least, the game of the night that very nearly saw White Rose chuck all 3 points away within the space of 25 minutes, saw an Abiati save after a Decor red card and a Clivert and Pizarro double brace to end up at 2-2. Leaves the table looking like this. Northern Burn are absolutely flying at the top of the league, with Maxim Sigalko and co on 15 points with 5 wins. East Coast Cosmos in second, looking very, very good tonight against Dragons, going to 12 points with 4 wins from 6. Casuals stealing a point for the second time this season from the jaws of defeat, sees them up to 11. How massive those 2 comebacks could be come the end of the season. Haggis, under the stewardships of Rock and Campbell, are into 4th with 10 points. Fulchester Phoenix having a little bit of a wobble there tonight with the injuries and suspensions, are in 5th with 10 points. The Vikings on the rise with 9 points, looking extremely solid. Gazelles into 7th with 9 points, having missed that penalty last night to get a point. They come back from 1-0 down. That also sees them overlap their opponents tonight from Bostock Stanley, who are in 8th with 8 points. PPP have a little bit of a wobble on 7, and the Badgers are resurgent now with 2 wins and seeing them up to 7 points. Dragons down to 11th after again suffering the gluttony of red cards as well as injuries. Celtics into 12th with 6 points, only having the 2 wins and no draws. Astor Athletic with more 5s and 4s than he can shake a stick at, going to 13th with 4 points. And White Rose, somewhat unluckily, I think, probably the most unluckiest team this season, see themselves rooted at the bottom of the table with 3 points from a potential 18. In terms of the next game week, we've got 8 days, is that? Yep, 8 days between now and then. Packs will be out straight away after. I haven't heard from Horse in terms of the Australia games, so I think we might just look to do those offline. So coming to you live from Grimsby on Wednesday night, with Dimble taking his first show, we have Badgers against Burn, Bostock against Phoenix, Coast against Vikings, Gazelles against PPP, Haggis against Dragons, Celtics against White Rose, and Casuals against Astor Athletic. We'll just pull up some player stats. Steve, any kind of last thoughts before we go?
Clads is doing as well. I know there's been a bit of DML tonight because their day has been terrible. But yeah, we've looked at that. Polino, Santos, Geisler, Morientes. I think these players that are going on the radar for Haggis, I think they're the sort of the highlight of what's going on at the minute. But yeah, again, as we were talking about there, with Odgie saying I'm keeping Clivert. Great start to the season he's had.
Yeah, and Clivert ahead of Maxim Sigalko in the scoring charts, which probably tells you just about how well he's doing. No surprise there to see a Northern Burn player at the top of the leaderboard, but a real mix of players scattered. Still early days yet, still a lot to play for. Kabakaladze doing wonders for White Rose at the top. We need some of those top players for White Rose at the top end of the pitch, doing what they need to be doing and putting the ball in the back of the net. Steve, any kind of last minute thoughts from you?
No, good night again. Thought I were on course for a victory, but you know what? It's tough gig. Is this league, and we go again.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Horse. How you doing?
Good day. Yeah. Looking forward to this. Yeah, it was a great little show there as well. So many reds.
Lots of reds, and
if they want to go and play for the reserves, it's fine. They can go into the reserves, and I'll pick them for a bit.
I'm sure they can. Let me just click through so nobody's seeing any news that they don't want to see from other teams.
It's my cue to jump off.
Okay, Steve. Best of luck for tomorrow, mate. I hope it all goes all right.
Oh, yeah, it'll be sound, mate. Thank you very much, guys.
No
and
worries.
We'll see Dimble on Wednesday.
For those of you that are still around in the chat, feel free to drop in if anybody feels like keeping us company. Ryan's just bizarrely sent a picture of me face into the group thread, which I don't know if that's when we went down to 9 men and I look absolutely sick. Badgers have just confirmed the signing of Pep Guardiola.
I think you say Badgers are in for next game.
Badgers are in for next game. Yeah, they would be on the back of a win. You'd just be like, yeah, as is. Okay, lovely. Let's pull the game back up.
Yes, indeed. So I did send you my team.
Did you?
But if you want me to let you know what it is, then I'll just do.
That'll be great.
Go that way. So this is subject. Are they all fit?
Yeah.
Lovely. Right. Okay. So it was Keeman goal, and then Baldini and Mitreski. Auda Camphouse in defensive mid.
Hang on. Go on.
Yeah. Have you got to Auda Camphouse? Yep. Boda on the left and Sanyol on the right.
Yep.
Semak and Parla. And then the front
three.
Yeah, Semak has the run. And then the front three from left to right, Palermo, Roberts, and the Belarusian Wooder.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
Sorry, the Australian Wooder. That's the one.
Semak with the run, yeah?
Yes, please. Yeah, so subs in order. Andre, Andrews, Elise, Tonetto, Ligvinsky, Jafar, and Jimenez.
Excellent. Good stuff. And here we go for the Nations Cup group game.
If we lose this.
I mean, you're not, are you? You're not going to be losing. Ray Paula's going to absolutely mince yourself. Ray Paula's going to pull the strings, and there is Zizi Roberts, a firm favourite in the Badgers community as Australia go without the ball, but actually seem to be creating the most commentary-worthy chances. American Samoa actually putting you under a little bit of pressure there.
Yeah, they look a bit lively, don't they?
They do, don't they? Yeah, absolutely. And there is Martin Palermo with the second. That looks to be enough of a cushion really to see this out, I think, given the quality of the opposition. Another chance there for Simak. Baldini coming forward. Ledneb was easily dispossessed. Take a note on that, Joseph Woder. Bode strikes it at the top corner, but actually it goes nowhere, and that is probably more comprehensive than the text would suggest, Dan.
Yeah, I'm just checking fitness and stuff. Yeah, we can go to 60 definitely, because I'm just making sure game every 2 days. I just want to make sure I'm not letting anyone die.
Let them die. If he dies, he dies. And we get to 60 with a yellow card for Sawyers, and there is a double, what looks to be a double yellow. We continue with the theme of red cards.
Right, I will make a couple of changes at least on here.
Yeah, go on then.
So I'm not bothered by ratings for today. So we'll have, let's take off Palermo and bring on Tonetto and put Boda on the left up front. Yeah. Actually, just take Boda off as well, because he's going to have to go, isn't he? Boda for Jafar and play Jafar up front.
Excellent.
Yep, that'll do.
Lovely, and we'll see if we can rack up the goals and the entertainment to continue what has been a decent little night's running. We've got Australia coming forward, Quim to Paula to Mitrevsky, Zizi Roberts with another header a goal, but doesn't put it away, and again with another header a goal, but he doesn't put it away, and another header a goal. Simak in there, and Roberts again with another header. He's just absolutely taken the definition of the mega
It's a
moves
good
to a whole.
goalkeeping display, isn't it?
You would think so. But I bet you the way the stats have went, there he is with a double. Will he get a hat trick? I think he could. He could get a hat trick here. I think he certainly should have had one. I reckon he's had about 7 chances. Let's have a little look. Full time
for one game, 25.
Wow.
So he's made 15 saves. What rate has that keeper got? Semak and Roberts with 10s. He's got a 7.
He's only on a 7. That's a bit nuts.
He's got Willie Carver on their bench. That sounds painful. Well, Wally Carver.
Wally Carver, very, very
Johnny
close
Scroggins.
to being perfect.
Yeah. That's one game done, isn't it? Is it just 2 to
Brilliant.
go? Right.
Let me just. I was just about to say, let me pull you off there, horse, but I'll not pull a horse off.
No, not on screen.
It's not great, is it?
Jens saying that I love Boda up front. Well, he is the backup plan, definitely. So I've kind of put together a team just in case I'm short of players for the next one.
How much of a backup plan do you need when you're playing with the best players on the database?
It's
even
because
if they're a second choice.
It's not so much for other things. It's just like it's fitness wise. So just have a look at the first team. Just go into that team again and just see what they're at. Go into tactics. Right. So I'm just gonna drop Ledenev.
Mm-hmm.
So that is to is Huntelaar 100% them? Yeah. Put him in.
Yeah.
And we'll just go.
Everybody else looks fairly good to go.
Vanuatu
with a standard clearance into Rosehead. Hood Campus gets his first goal on a little bit of a mazy run. Indirect free kick. Header again from Roberts. We'll see if he can beat the 8 headers that he had in the last game. There is Semek 2-0, and it is ZZ Roberts again. This looks to be a lot more clinical. There we go. Roberts is absolutely heading for fun here. I think he's done 8 headers in this first half.
That's a lot of crosses.
3.
Sagnol.
Yeah. Where's he at? Gazelles?
Wait, someone's reserve, isn't he?
Yeah, Gazelles reserve. Yeah.
So there's one player. The keeper's on a 5. There's one 87. Let's take Oude Kamphuis off and bring on Legvinsky.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll leave the others till 60.
And we see if we can add to the 4. Another save from the keeper, Mitrevsky, the Baldini, Legvinsky, Roberts. Oh, he could have had that hat. That alluded in the first game there, I think. Sub.
Right, so I should have a game in 2 days now. So let's take off, put Palermo on the right of the 3. And actually put. I think is border fit enough this time. Just conditions and all.
Sorry, I thought he was on the bench there.
Yes, he's fine. So put him up front for Huntelaar.
Yep.
And then let's take Semak off, and let's give that role to Elise, and he can go and attack.
Is that all right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's B3 subs.
Spot on. Jens saying that Zizi's going to be coming up to the first team. Obviously, he's playing that 2 up top with Mpenza and Romeo. So it'll be interesting to see what Roberts and Mpenza force looks like.
I wonder how much like Super League teams these are that I'm playing against.
Not very much.
Melvin Clyde, just a guy called Brewster. No first name. Doesn't need anything there.
Cliff Vickers.
Oh,
Denver Manley. That sounds like a drag queen name, that Denver Manley. And there again is ZZ Roberts, not necessarily with 8 headers out of 8, but with 5 out of 6, which is pretty decent.
So there should be one more game, I think. Just it should be on the 13th, no 15th.
Yeah, against Tahiti.
Yeah, and that's before the others. And then the final, should I get there? The final is on the same day as the next league games. Right.
Okay. So that'll come after the league games, will it?
Same night, so it could be just night, like playing either order. Right. Look at the fitness again.
Dimble drop us a text for what these bids are. Sorry.
Oh, you got some bids coming in.
2 seconds. He hasn't told us. What you sent them to the Twitter account.
In now.
Yeah. If you let us know what they are, mate. Yeah, I'll get them in. What are you doing here, Dan?
Did Hunter get put on the left wing in the end of that game? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, just check me tactics. I'll see you to drop.
Tato just saying that I was pointing out for those last 2 games that shots were headers. I was looking at the shots column and saying he's made 8 out of 8 headers in those shots. You were just much more polite and didn't want to correct us there, Dan, didn't you? What are you doing?
I'm just like constantly just staring all over the screen. Let's put.
Badgers must be doing well because Tato's hung about. So I'm glad you've hung about to correct us, Tato. What are you saying, Dan?
Go with the same team.
Yeah. Okay.
Might as well
excellent.
do. Yeah.
The mighty Tahiti, notoriously a tough place to go. Yellow card for Carey. Dimble says Petrevski's just texted the group chat for Cosmos and said he's bored shitless with the Australia side. CZ Roberts with his 5th in 3 games. All looks a little bit standard. Ray Paul there pulling the strings. Yeah. Good Campus has been pretty good for you though in that DM position.
Yeah, he's. I don't have much choice in that position, to be honest. Actually, he's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's the centre mids. ZZ, there he is again.
ZZ looking pretty good. Tato, you've just signed Guardiola. It's just went through. While you have a little look at your side there, let me just see if Dimble's fired through his deals.
We'll be going
Got them, Dimble, mate. Cheers.
We'll be going to 60.
Going to 60 appeal for a penalty not given. Palermo there gets amongst the goals. Cleared off the line.
Right, I'm going to give 2 or 3 a rest here before the final. So we will take off Huntelaar and bring on Jimenez.
Yeah.
And I will take off... Oh, let's put Jafar on for Sanyol. Sanyol's only on a 6.
Sanyol, where's he at? There we go. Yeah.
And I'll just do that. Yeah.
Excellent. What date are we on here? 15th. Next games, you've got 4 days. Dimble, I'll try and push them through.
I think it's 2 days. I think you play 17th.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's same day as mine. And then I don't know whether my international versus Morocco, whoever it is, gets called off or not because I've got a game 3 days before.
ZZ Roberts with 4. Only winning 2 headers. I'll read the right stat this time, but 4 goals. And the mighty Australia with about 400 chances over the last 3 games. March on. Let me just, in case there's anything massive that pops up. You're playing American Samoa in the
back again
final,
against them after I beat them in the first game. That's lovely.
And it jumps straight to match day, so the game didn't even give us the chance to. The game didn't even give us the chance to kind of put any bids or anything in. So I think that probably concludes this evening's action, Danielson.
Very nice.
Thank you very much for joining us for some Land Down Under streaming. Appreciate
some very
it.
Quick games, yeah.
And I'll get packs out straight away, boys. But for now, we'll see you on Wednesday with Dimble's first stream. And cheers for joining us, lads. See you in a bit.
See ya.